Tuesday, November 21st. We're 48 hours outside of Gobble Gobble. We're 48 hours outside of 49ers and Seahawks. And boy, does that week move fast when there's a Thursday night football game. And that's what's happening down in Santa Clara. They are getting ready for a Seahawks game, which we know is always a bit more of a battle than it probably could be or should be. And even though the 49ers have played pretty well against Seattle in their last 5 games, the 49ers are 4-1 against the Sea Chickens. Boy, that's a team that is better than its stats probably suggest. And we all know that when you put Seattle on its home field in a night game, they're even more of a problem. They always have been. They just kind of are. That's the way it works up there. And familiarity breeds a little contempt, and there is contempt between the 49ers and Seahawks, and there's only a game really separating them in the standings. So we got ourselves interesting coming this way. Thank you so much for being here. Welcome to the Damon Brew Show once again. We will hop into the chat. We will do Club Plus. We will have an awful lot for you today and a Warriors win to talk about. Huzzah! We will get into all of that before it is said and done. Seattle's in 48 hours. Here we go. The Seahawks are 18th in total yards per game. They're 13th in passing yards. They're 25th in rushing yards. And they average 21.6 points per game, 23rd overall defense. Now, I'll tell you what the kids would call that mid. What do you think of the Seahawks? They're mid. New slang is so boring. He is him and mid. I can't take it. Anyway, you can throw all that out the window, though, against division rivals. Like I said, the Seahawks somehow play above their averages, above their numbers when they're playing the 49ers, and the Niners sometimes play below their averages and below their numbers. It feels like normally in this game, whoever is set to win it is the team that sometimes doesn't. It's division rivals. You know, this is coaches who know each other. These are teams who know each other. These are teams who understand tendencies and razzle-dazzles and whatever, little trick up your sleeve that might fool another team, likely to fool a division opponent less. Pete Carroll and Kyle Shanahan, look, they know each other. They know their tendencies. Even less likely to fool someone with razzle-dazzle on a short week, because normally those razzle-dazzle plays are what you put in when you got a little bit more time to prepare. You got to bake a cake of a game plan, and then the razzle-dazzle is like the sprinkles on top or the way you write happy birthday on the cake. There's less time for that in a short week. So this game is probably going to be a little bit more straight up bully ball, stripped down playbook, stripped down razzle dazzle than you normally get. So just be ready for a physical football game. And that benefits, I believe, the 49ers. With all of that, it's funny when you've talked about football 18 years in a row with an audience, you can almost, if you want to, track some talking points that pop up each and every season. It just happens. And it's not that I'm falling back into old lazy habits. I just think that there are certain times in a year where, look out for that, come into play. I say this once a year, every year. It's like, what week will Damon pick to say the following? I'm picking this week. And I'm putting the 49ers and the Seahawks both on special teams red alert. If there's one thing that every team works on all season long, it's a special teams razzle-dazzle, a fake punt, a fake field goal, and I wouldn't be surprised to see either the 49ers or the Seahawks dip into that corner of the playbook this week. It might be a week where someone needs to steal a possession and get a little bold on special teams. And I just think that this could be a week where it happens. So red alert special teams is my go-to point to make. Once again, here we are. We're about that time in a year where Damon's talking about that again. I'm usually wrong. The amount of fake special teams plays we get in the NFL seem to be fewer and fewer, especially now in a league where coaches are wired to be more aggressive on fourth down anyways. You don't need that special teams play to pick up that fourth down in surprising fashion quite like you used to. But this is a week where I've got 49ers special teams. You need to be on red alert. That field goal, that 41-yard field goal on 4th and 3 that Seattle is settling for, that could be a special teams fake this week. Just throwing that out there, just putting that in the ether. Do with it what you will. I'm sure Kyle watches this show every day. I'm sure he's one of our viewers right now. Hello, Kyle. Good to have you here. The Seahawks are 4-1 at home. Again, they're always better at home than they are anywhere else. They're 6-3 overall. They just got beat by a point by the Rams, who are coming off of a bye week. That's probably a game that Seattle should have had. But again, you give McVay a little time, more time to get ready, you can run into trouble. Division rival. What's supposed to happen in a division game might not happen. So just be ready for that. It's going to be a night game. What do they call Lumen Field up there now? Terrible name for a football field, but Lumen. All right. The place is going to be nuts. The place is going to be nuts. I'm guessing that most people in Seattle are going to wake up and do like a lunchtime Thanksgiving dinner, sleep it off a little bit, get to the game, get fired up, get drunk. Here you go. Everybody's got Friday off. So it'll be a hornet's nest. There's no doubt. That is always a loud stadium. The Seahawks are averaging 5.8 yards per play in home games. That's better at home than they are on the road. The one other thing that I think the 49ers got going in their direction, their favor, is that the entirety of the playbook will be shrunk, and there might be a problem with Geno Smith's elbow that shrinks it even a little bit more than a short week does. How is he feeling? How is he playing? How is he throwing? How is he looking? Are questions you need to be asking yourself early in that game. If Geno is restricted, that's going to make the Seattle chance to win, just dip down a little, like it would for any team. Geno's actually having an okay year, mid, if you will. 2,404 passing yards, 12 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. He's completing 65% of his passes. It's a good year. It's not a great year. What the Seahawks have, probably that should scare Steve Wilks or just have Steve Wilks on red alert, maybe more than other teams, is they've got 2 wide receivers that feel the distribution almost equally between the 2 of them. DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett are much different body types, but are having very similar seasons. Metcalf is 646 receiving yards, 3 touchdowns on 40 catches on 71 targets. Lockett is 545 receiving yards, 4 touchdowns, 51 catches on 74 targets. So you're looking at a team that is using 2 wide receivers almost with the same frequency. So you got more of a field to cover. It's not 1 and then 2, 3, 4. It's 1A, 1B between these wide receivers. Kenneth Walker III is a really good running back. 613 rushing yards. They throw him the ball a couple times per game, but he's really not that dual threat back. So expect some slobber knocker football up in Seattle. It's just geared to be ugly. It really is. Short week, division rivals. And I'm not going to say that the 49ers are going to take any bait here and start looking ahead. But how can they, if they are human, which I'm guessing the 49ers pretty much to a man are human, how can you not be thinking about the Eagles just a little bit based on the results of Monday Night Football in Kansas City? The Eagles got everybody's attention today. Rightfully so. And we'll talk more about that in just a minute. Meanwhile, the 49ers defensively are number 1 in the stat that matters most. Points allowed. That's it. What defense is, forget about yards. Yards are not scored against you. It's points that get scored against you. The 49ers, who are very good in the yardage category, by the way, are the best in the NFL at giving up points. They don't allow a lot of points. 15.7 points per game is what this defense is allowing. That, by the way, is a college number. And to prove that, only Michigan, Ohio State, Iowa, Penn State, Georgia, and Ohio University are the only 6 schools in major college football allowing fewer points than the 49ers allow in professional football. So the 49ers are putting up a ridiculously low number in terms of points allowed average against them. 15.7 points per game is all this defense is given up. That is a big number. Well, actually, it's the opposite of a big number. That's a teeny tiny number. Scoring might be down in the NFL, but the 49ers are taking scoring down, way down. So this is a game the 49ers should win. But again, division rivals, weird things happen. Seattle, weird things happen. Pete Carroll teams, weird things happen. Lumen Field, night game, weird things happen. It's time to avenge Turkey on the 50, even though the 49ers got some ownage lately over the Seahawks. Again, in their last 5 games, the 49ers have won 4 of them, swept them last year. That includes a wild card win as well, so 3-0 against the Seahawks just last year. But you got the Seahawks in 2 of the next 3 weeks with the Eagles waiting there, and we'll get to that in just a second. Meanwhile, cheers, welcome. It feels like a sip of the day right there. You know, I don't mean to make all first sips of the day, but it's just the timing of the coffee in a normal morning. This was a very normal morning in the Bruce household. Normal wake-up times, normal kids out the door times, normal prep time for the show. Coffee went on normal time, so we're right about where we need to be, and that is your official sip of the day for those who track these things. And the fact that you guys and gals do means you're insane, and I love you, and thank you very much. Someone even criticized me. They're like, Damon, enough with the sipping. It's a little annoying into the microphone. Well, isn't like they're big like AMSR? Is that what it's called? I don't even know. AMSR? I don't know. But we're like, yeah, people like hearing sounds. So just pretend it's one of those videos too. It's a multi-pronged video. It's sports. It's sensory perception. It's beefcake, as you can clearly see. Let me tell you what you should have for lunch today. You should have a sandwich from Ike's. I mean, there are so many delicious sandwiches at Ike's. Choose your weapon. You can't go wrong. You really can't. When you choose that weapon, though, the weapon of choice before you choose that weapon should be the Ike's app. Download the Ike's Reward app. Start earning your way towards free sandwiches. Jamie Sire. I love the Jamie Sirewich. I totally, really love the Jamie Sirewich. It's a delicious fried chicken sandwich. I think I might have talked about that, but I think about that sandwich a lot. That's a compliment. I think about your sandwich a lot. I do. I think about that sandwich a lot. I think I might need one today. I might document that trip down the Jamie Sirewich lane. Share it on social media. Again, whenever you are eating at Ike's, take a picture, send it to me over on Twitter. I'd be happy to share that with the world and spread the gospel of Ike's love and sandwiches. Want to also invite you, as you're thinking about making that next wager, to do it over at mybookie.ag. Use promo code Damon. When you sign up, you'll get 50% off your deposit match up to $1,000. A robust casino for you to play all sorts of casino games in. Blackjack, roulette, slots, anything that you can think of in a casino, they got it there for you. It's like a cruise ship in international waters. Law does not apply. So you go ahead, make sure your credit card is signed up for international use, and sign up with mybookie.ag, the best way to, make a little something on the side. Great interface, great website. Check it out, mybookie.ag. As I was talking about, the Eagles are kind of on everybody's mind, and why wouldn't they be? An impressive win, to say the least, in Kansas City, right? And it's impressive because I don't even think the Eagles played a great football game. And as much as the Eagles won, that game, if Patrick Mahomes had a few wide receivers who could catch more than a cold, the Chiefs probably win that game. The Chiefs were in front of that game for 3 of the 4 quarters, and then there came Philadelphia. It's like their physical nature finally wore down Kansas City. It looked like Travis Kelce was worn down. It looked like the Chiefs' offensive line and defensive lines got worn down. There was a Swift in the building, and he had a very good night on the ground. And the Eagles are the real deal. And the 49ers, I really hope that they win in Seattle, so there's no backpedaling at all before we set up what is nothing short of the NFC's version of the Super Bowl, December 3rd in Philadelphia. 49ers and Eagles. It's up to the team to take it one at a time. I don't think that that's our job. We could talk about other things than just one game at a time, and you can't help but think that that's going to be the game of the year. Game of the year, certainly for the Niners. I mean, I don't know about the NFL. Game of the year for the Eagles. It feels like that's what's coming to them. If the Niners certainly handle their business against Seattle. Jalen Hurts, by the way, is on a regular season 13-game winning streak against teams whose records are 500 or above at the time that they kick off against the Eagles. So Hurts is doing one of those things that really good quarterbacks can do. He can win ugly. Jalen Hurts can win in a going away, everything's working afternoon. He can win in a my knee is a little less than 100%, and I am at Arrowhead, and a lot of incomplete passes here, and we're not exactly killing it on third down, and A.J. Brown isn't having a monster game. We're going to have to grind this out, and the Eagles did, and they do that. Like every time you look up, they're in a tighter than you thought game, but who cares when they win almost all the time, right? Now, a great way for the Niners to lose in Seattle is to start thinking of the Eagles. But I do want to share something that I found pretty interesting. I've always said that in baseball, run differential is a great indicator of the year that you're having. There are so many games being baked into a major league season that whether you're winning or losing might not even be as important as how you are playing. And run differential speaks to that. How many more runs do you score than you allow? The teams that are way north are usually your postseason teams, and the teams that are struggling are not. Now, point differential in basketball, that's a sport that lends itself to so much scoring. I think it means a little less. Like point differential is, of course, important, but so many games can get cockeyed and lopsided that you can have a less than telling the true story point differential in basketball than you do over the larger sample size that is a baseball season. A football season, every game is so important. Every single game is so important, and you can get blown out one week and come back and look like gangbusters the next. So maybe point differential means even less in football. Now, I'll tell you that to qualify what I'm about to tell you, because this is kind of interesting. You know, Bill Parcells famously said that you are what your record is. So you can't argue that the 49ers right now are better than the Eagles or the Lions, who are the two teams in the NFC that have the better record. Eagles are 9-1, Lions are 8-2, the 49ers are 7-3. So that's who they are. That's who they are. But if you want to factor in point differential, things kind of get interesting. And I got to give full credit to former Damon Bruce Show board op Mark Grandy for sending this one out on Twitter last night. I saw he sent this out, and I'm like, oh, that's on the show. That's a good nugget. So the Eagles at 9-1 with the best record in the NFC and do all the courtesy that is afforded to a team that I think rightfully gets to wear the moniker of you're the best team in football. Right now, the Eagles are the best team in football. I mean, if you want to mince words, if you want to get into a debate, sure. But if we're going by records, Eagles are the best team in football. And they've got a plus 61 point differential. They've won an awful lot of close games. They've probably let teams hang around more than they'd like to, but they're finishing everybody off for the most part. The Lions, who are 8-2, have a plus 43 point differential. So Eagles are 9-1 with a plus 61. The Lions are 8-2 with a plus 43. The Niners are 7-3 with a plus 122 point differential. 49ers can put up some points, and they prevent a lot of teams from scoring. They really do. They really, really do. To have essentially double, not essentially even, mathematically fact, 61 times 2 is 122. And the 49ers, even with 2 more losses, have twice the point differential of the Eagles. What will that matter when they play the Eagles? Nothing. That game happens in a vacuum. But it's just pretty interesting to see that the team in the NFC with the 3rd best record has the overwhelming most dominant point differential in the conference. So, you can put that in your pipe and smoke it. What does it mean, Damon? What does it mean? I don't know, but I found it interesting. I hope you did too. I want to talk about Patrick Mahomes for a second. But by talking about Patrick Mahomes, I'm also talking about Brock Purdy and the mental fictitious scenario that everyone, Purdy detractors, want to see him in. Because, look, Patrick Mahomes is an all-timer. Like, that's how good he is. I would take nothing away from Patrick Mahomes in the history of you get to draft a quarterback to win one football game with. Like, go ahead and try Joe Montana. He was pretty damn good. Dan Marino might not have won a Super Bowl, but you won't find a better quarterback in your life. John Elway, you can't go wrong with John Elway. I'm sure somebody's grandfather would tell you couldn't go wrong with Johnny Unitas. You can't go wrong with Patrick Mahomes. And look, Patrick Mahomes has rightfully joined the all-time conversation about as fast as any athlete in their career is allowed to. We all know that durability matters, especially in football, where durability is a test that every player is taking snap to snap, much less week to week. If Patrick Mahomes plays another 10, 12 years in the NFL, he might shatter record books. He might. He's already spectacular. But would you please look at and acknowledge what in this season is an undeniable fall off with lesser talent in the same system? Everybody says Brock Purdy, he's good in his situation, but what if you put him in another situation? What if you picked up Brock Purdy and put him in another team's huddle? Then what would it look like? Well, it would probably look a little bit like Patrick Mahomes, who is struggling to find what used to be easy to find success offensively, now more than ever before. Why? He's got lesser talent around him. Mahomes still throws darts and laser beams, but you need someone to catch those darts and laser beams. You got a team in Kansas City that can't catch a cold. Terrible hands, every wide receiver. And Travis Kelce last night didn't have a Travis Kelce game. So it was a struggle. It was a struggle. And it's been a struggle. Why is it a struggle? Well, because an awful lot of the talent in the room is no longer in the room. But wait. I was told that elite quarterbacks don't need any talent around them, which is absurd. It's absurd. Brock Purdy's good as long as there's talent around him. Hey, Patrick Mahomes is pretty good no matter what. But the truth is he's a lot better with talent around him. And if that applies to him, it probably applies to everybody, right? I mean, I know that I'm stepping on an awful lot of media talking points here, but that's why you come here, because I do that. Because half the media is just full of shit. Football is the ultimate team game. Always has been, always will be. There's no such thing as that guy does it alone by himself. He's that good. That has never existed. Not for a minute. Now, elite quarterbacks obviously change the fortunes of a team more than at any other position, but it's still a team. He can throw the ball in spectacular fashion, but the results are no longer there. This is a lesson for large swaths of fans, okay? This is a lesson. The question that you keep asking about Brock Purdy, this hypothetical Brock Purdy scenario that so many of you need answered, is actually happening to Patrick Mahomes. And if you're willing to say, like, Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in football, then yes, of course it would apply to Brock Purdy too. You put Brock Purdy on another team with lesser talent around him, numbers go down. It's like that for Patrick Mahomes. A quarterback in a good situation equals good. A quarterback in a lesser situation equals less good. You wouldn't think that you'd have to spell this out for people who cover this league, fans who watch this league, but apparently a lot of you are stuck in remedial reading. This applies to Patrick Mahomes. This applies to Brock Purdy. Look, it applies to Joe Montana. Joe Montana was winning Super Bowls right up until he was out of San Francisco, and those Chiefs teams that he were on were good, but weren't great. And so the Super Bowls ended. This applies to Tim Tebow, who was, just a world beater. Pardon me. A world beater when he was in college, where the talent that Florida team had was so overwhelming that he was an overwhelming player and quarterback. You put him in the NFL, and not quite. This applies to Vinny Testaverde. Vinny Testaverde, in a few situations, was a really good quarterback. In other situations, he wasn't. What do you know? Vinny Testaverde was better there in Cleveland for a while than he was with the New York Jets. Again, I was told that elite quarterbacks don't even need talent around them. Patrick Mahomes could do this anywhere with anyone. Doesn't matter who his wide receivers are. He makes everybody better all the time. No doubt about it. Well, if that's true, how come the Chiefs offense is averaging 13.3 points per game over its last 3 games, and they have been shut out in the second half of all 3 of those games? It's not just the talent, it's the coaching. Eric Bieniemy is out of that picture, and the Chiefs don't work quite like they used to. Tyreek Hill is out of that picture, and the Chiefs don't work quite like they used to. You got frying pan hands everywhere on your wide receivers, and all of a sudden, Patrick Mahomes is throwing more interceptions, and the Chiefs, who never, ever, ever slow down scoring, have slowed down to a crawl in 3 second halves in a row. So if your whole point is Brock Purdy won't be as good as he is if he weren't in as good of a situation that he is in, I guess my point back to you would be like, no duh. Thanks a lot, football Sherlock. You think you're onto something there? You think that you know something? It's obvious. Good football teams are better than bad football teams. Duh. I mean, God. Oh, no, an elite quarterback and an elite coach is all you need. It's all you need. Well, I tell you that a wide receiver who can catch something is pretty important to a team's success, even in Kansas City, even with Patrick Mahomes, even with Andy Reid, even coming out of a bye week, for goodness sakes. Andy Reid losing a home game coming out of a bye week. I mean, that happens about as often as Halley's Comet comes through. So, again, the fictitious hypothetical scenario that so many people insist Brock Purdy be put in, Patrick Mahomes is struggling in that right now. And as he struggles, he still throws absolute gorgeous balls everywhere. I mean, Scantling dropping that ball last night, the pass on 4th and a mile. I mean, it was a laser beam that he put right on the receiver who dropped it. Final offensive play of the night for Kansas City as they were looking to drive for a win in their final game. But, yeah, I mean, all this hypothetical, your mental hurdle that you need Brock Purdy to clear before you'll acknowledge he's good, one of the greatest quarterbacks ever is struggling in the same scenario you want Brock to be in. If Mahomes is struggling, of course Purdy would struggle. You're on to nothing. You've illuminated nothing by saying, I bet you if Brock were on a worse team, he'd have a worse year. Thanks a lot. Genius. Thank you. Anything else? Do you have anything else to add to the conversation? So many of these people don't, and that, I guess, is my point. Nathaniel Richards is upset. Thanks for nothing, Chiefs. Yeah, they did not help the 49ers. They did not help the 49ers last night. Chiefs didn't do their jobs, Irwin. They did not do their jobs. R.I.P. Cougar Rebel says, Mr. Taylor Swift coming through with the fumble and the dropped pass. Yeah, I mean, he just had an off night. I mean, Travis Kelce, he even said last night, too, I think more about retirement than anyone could ever imagine. Well, yeah, especially while you're dating Taylor Swift, the billionaire, I would imagine, right? I mean, Travis Kelce's making a whole bunch of money outside of football, so much so that he's probably thinking, how much more football do I really need on this body? I can be Mr. Pop Star Husband and make more money doing that than the National Football League's going to make next year. Now, I'm not saying that Travis and Taylor are about to get married. Hey, look at it this way. Maybe there isn't a real relationship there, and the reason why Travis was a little tired last night because he's back to his old way of banging strippers while Taylor's in Brazil. Maybe. Just throwing that out there. Again, tired legs. When I see tired legs, I always go to, who's that guy fucking? So it was a hell of a Monday Night Football game. It really was. It was good. It was good. I liked it. But it was also ugly. And I think that it proved a lot of ridiculously stupid questions that keep on popping up in the universe about Brock Purdy. So there you go. I saw Adam Schefter tweet that for the first time now, we have Monday Night Football eligible to have bad games flexed out of Monday Night Football. That's good. The next Monday Night Football game is between the Vikings and the Bears, and that game needs to be flexed out immediately. And I have the game that needs to be flexed into Monday Night Football. We need Ohio State and Michigan flexed into Monday Night Football. Let's stop pretending that college sports is amateur sports. It might as well be the NFL, NFL light. Just go ahead and put Michigan, Ohio State in Monday Night Football and get the Bears and Vikings the hell out of there. Isn't that a great idea? It'd be a ratings winner. I mean, an overwhelming ratings winner. Might even get a Super Bowl number with Michigan, Ohio State on Monday Night Football. The Bears can't be put on TV. Not anymore. America deserves better. How about this? You want to talk about pain and suffering? Matt Eberflus is pain and suffering. May your entire life go with him not coaching your football team. And I'm not saying it's even all Eberflus's fault, but I'm already ready for the next coach. Go get Jim Harbaugh. I don't give a shit. Matt Eberflus has amassed 4 of the top 50 blown leads in Bears history in just over a season and a half. The top 50 most blown leads in Bears history, and they've been playing football since basically they signed the Declaration of Independence. The Bears have 4 of their top 50 blown leads on Eberflus's clock. He's coached 28 games. That means roughly 1 out of every 7 games that he is involved in has been a historic choke job. No more so than what we just saw from the Bears against the Detroit Lions. The game against the game that the Bears just blew in Detroit, since 1932, not a single NFL team has blown a game with a +3 turnover margin and 40 minutes of possession time. Teams had been 48-0 until the Bears blew that scenario in Detroit. As I've been saying for well over a year now, fire everybody. Not just some people, fire everybody. And hopefully the owner, God bless her, old Virginia McCaskey, it's time for her to go too. It just everyone's got to go. It's a clown show. The Chicago Bears have become the Detroit Lions and the New York Jets and the Cleveland Browns with better uniforms. That's who they are right now. I can't take it. I'd say that was 35 minutes of maximum football, wouldn't you? And again, our maximum football is going to be right back on top of us. We got just a little bit more than 48 hours. At 5:30 tonight, we'll officially be in the 48-hour window until the 49ers play again. The Golden State Warriors, if we can spend a little minute on hoops. Golden State Warriors snapped a 6-game losing streak, beating the Rockets 121-116 on Monday night. The Warriors, look, when they knock down shots, they're going to win some games. The problem with the Warriors is that there's no scenario where they're going to be winning games when they're not knocking down a lot of shots, which is a tough thing to ask any team to do. Hey, be great from the field every single night. Warriors were 21 of 43 from three. They were 28 of 33 at the free throw line. You got Curry and Clay combining for 52 points. What do you know? Klay Thompson got to the 20-point plateau. 20 points for Clay. 5 of 11 from three. Curry had 32, obviously. If Clay had 20, that's how they combined for 52. Chris Paul became he dropped one of his best games in a Warriors uniform last night. And I'm going to tell you, the Warriors without Chris Paul this year might be sitting at like 2 or 3 wins. That's how important he's been. Chris Paul has been a stabilizing force for the Golden State Warriors. Chris Paul last night, 15 points, 12 rebounds. 15 points, 12 assists, and 6 rebounds for Chris Paul. Saric comes off the bench. He almost had 20. He had 18. And in that entire game, which Houston was way too still in at the end of the game, the Warriors are, it's going to be a weird year. You can just feel it. Steph Curry became the Warriors' all-time leader in minutes played on Monday night. 34 minutes is what he gave on the court, and he passes Nate Thurmond as the Warriors' all-time leader in minutes played with over 3,730 career minutes. I'm sure, like an awful lot of you, I've seen just about all of those. The amount of Warriors games that I have missed in the Steph Curry era, I mean, there can't be 25 of them. There can't be 30 of them. Just games I straight up didn't see any of it. Just totally missed it. Was doing something else. Was on vacation. Was in Europe or something like that. You know, like I have watched as much of Steph Curry's career as probably anybody can claim that they've done. You know, who has seen for sure more games from Steph Curry than I have. The only names that I would be very comfortable with would be like Tim Roy and Bob Fitzgerald. They have definitely seen more Curry than I have, but other than traveling with the team broadcasters, I'm right up there. I would like to thank Steph Curry for just about every single one of those 3,730 minutes. They've just been the most interesting 3,730 minutes that any player has put together. They've been revolutionary. They have been an evolutionary step. They have been the greatest minutes in the history of minutes in the history of the Golden State Warriors. He has been an absolute unstoppable source of basketball pleasure in my life, and I'm sure you feel that way too. Curry is just heaven sent. And we don't have much left. So whether the Warriors are winning or not, I just want to enjoy this artist. And he is a basketball artist. And what a privilege we have had to cover him and the team around him, which goes down as one of the single greatest basketball thoughts ever expressed in the NBA. The Warriors in the Steph Curry era have just been remarkable. And it will end poorly because that's the only way these things end. But Curry still does that. You know, he's got that game. When will Steph Curry not be able to hit that corner three with regularity? When he's like in his 50s? You know, I mean, the guy is going to be a shooter, and shooters age well, except for Klay Thompson right now. But at least Klay had a decent game on Monday night. Chris Paul. He had one of his best games with the Warriors on Monday night. And here's a stat that the Warriors shared on their social media that I thought this was really interesting. Since the 77-78 season, when turnovers were first attributed to individual players and not just kept as a team total, Chris Paul this season is the only player with 115 or more assists and 18 or fewer turnovers over his first 15 games of a season. That's essentially in my lifetime. The Warriors would be sitting at 2 or 3 wins this year without Chris Paul. He's been very good. Steph Curry is, you know, making an MVP argument in the games that he doesn't play as much as he makes it in the games that he does play. But the Warriors are going to have to be a lot better for him to get acknowledged as that. Next game up, Phoenix. In Phoenix. Good luck with that. Only baseball note for you before we hop into Club Plus and go through a bunch of chat, which is just flying. Chat's flying right now. Padres have hired Mike Shildt as their new manager. He was with the Cardinals. That relationship went sideways between him and ownership. And I'll tell you that the only connection that I have to Mike Shildt is that my buddy Tom Ackerman, who is just Mr. St. Louis radio, KMOX, knew and liked Mike Shildt very, very much. So the Padres got an underrated manager in Mike Shildt. There you go. There is the show today, as I have lovingly packaged it for you. As I told you several times, we will never waste a minute of your time. We will never just club you over the head with regurgitated talking points. That's the beauty of this. I don't have 4 hours to desperately try to fill like a radio show host. No, YouTube, it's a different world. It's a different law. Get right to the point, hammer that point, and get off the stage. So that's what we're doing. Thank you so much for tuning in today. And stick around here on YouTube because Club Plus will be banging. But if you're listening to the podcast, thank you so very much. And I remind you that we got 49er football coming in 48 hours, and that sports don't build character, they reveal it. And like that, he's gone. Where is my plug? There it is. Plug it in. Turn this off. Getting sexy now. Yeah. All right. Welcome into Club Plus. Welcome into Club Plus. Mr. Cartier 7 says, if you think about the Eagles have one of the hardest schedules and they're 9-1, this shit's spooky. Look, they're really good. You know, I mean, you can't take anything away from what we're seeing with that team. You know, you can't. They're good. They're really good. Before I just assume the 49ers can beat them, I need to see them beat them. It's hard to just believe in. I got to see it. I'm a little bit of a doubting Thomas there. Again, teams with outstanding offensive lines should always scare you. And as good as the Niners' defensive line is, both of these teams run the hell out of the ball. Again, we're not doing Philadelphia pregame yet. We're not. I'm not going to fall for it. You almost got me. Going back to why things are struggling for Mahomes and company and the Chiefs, where they've been shut out 3 weeks in a row now in the second half. No more Tyreek Hill and Juju. Yeah, it's a game changer, isn't it? The Skills Report, who, by the way, you know, he sent me, he made a comment on one of my videos just saying, hey, haven't been able to watch live. Look, attendance is not mandatory. It's great to have you here when you can be here live. It's great to have you involved in the chat, as always. But you watch when this is convenient for you. That's why this is so superior to radio. When you need it, there we go. I'll be there when you need me, right in your pocket. Pretty sure, if I may say, Skill Savage was one of Mahomes' keys receivers. His numbers would go down. Yeah. When you have not Tyreek Hill, it's going to be harder to throw, right? Nathaniel Richards says that's what the national media wants, the elite quarterback to carry the team and win without any help. Again, this is why the media doesn't know shit half the time. It's ridiculous. It's a ridiculous ask to make. Oh, I'll think this guy's a good quarterback when the talent around him is so suspect that winning is only attributed to him. T from the 203 says, Damon, with the talent around Mahomes this year, it reminds me of the early years of Donovan McNabb with a running back, a tight end, and a wasteland of wideouts this year. That's not bad. That is, it's a little McNabby, which again has got Andy Reid's fingerprints all over it. You look, say Commanders are terrible. Now people are arguing over strengths of schedules. Look, an NFL schedule is a strong schedule. I don't care who you're playing. You know, there's no reason to argue over, well, that team's no good. They're all pretty good, even the bad ones. It's an any given Sunday league. I'm arguing of strength of schedule in the NFL like you're trying to figure out who belongs in the college football playoffs is just ridiculous. Chiefs beat the Eagles if Tyreek Hill's still on the team. But again, I was told that all you need is an elite quarterback. Or maybe everyone who just says that is wrong. And it's the ultimate team sport. You should never forget that. Daniel Tricky. Great name if that's your name. Spitting truth today. It's what we try to do. It's what we're going for on a daily basis. We're looking for truth. We're looking for a little honesty. We're looking for a little nuance. We're looking for takes that aren't just hot takes, but are accurate. I'm a big fan of accurate takes. That show would probably do terrible, by the way. Hi, welcome to the Accurate Take Show. We're going up against the Hot Take Show, and the world of morons that we live in likes those more than they like accurate takes. But here we are, the adults. Again, T from the 203, an elite coach and elite quarterback, or what we said when Andy Reid and Donovan McNabb were in the 20s with the dumpster fire wideouts. Yeah, look, Deshaun Jackson. He was like a guy that unleashed the spigot of offense. Again, I would love to see it. If the question applies to Brock Purdy, why wouldn't it apply to Patrick Mahomes too? You put Mahomes on the Panthers. He's not going anywhere because the Panthers suck. Exactly. How about this? You put Mahomes on the Chiefs, and they're getting shut out in the second half 3 weeks in a row, and they're averaging 13 points per game. If that ever happened to the 49ers, you'd have fans jumping off of bridges. Oh, my God. There'd be a full referendum on Purdy. And no, I told you he couldn't play. I told you. Idiots. You want to run the experiment the other way? What happens when you take a quarterback out of a bad situation and you plop them into a good situation? Well, here you go. Sporticus. Stafford needed more help than the Lions could give him to win a Super Bowl. He goes to L.A. with more talent around him. Boom. Super Bowl. Perfect. Bizarro example. It's perfect reverse. That is the perfect reverse example of what we're talking about. All of a sudden, the Rams have a little bit less talent now. Oh, and they're not going to win the Super Bowl, are they? Lions could be headed to that 1 seed. They do have a softer schedule than anyone else contending for a 1 seed. Sexy voice? We got a sexy voice alert here on True Blue Forever? Don't make me. All right. Taylor Swift. There's some things there that I'm not gonna read that. What else? Sentinel Football Channel says he's her next number one single. Oh, look, when Taylor's heart gets broken by Travis Kelce, that's a best-selling album, right? Just waiting to happen. Please flex the Giants and Packers 100%. Get them. The New York Giants don't belong on television, much less prime time television. Get them off TV. Flex the Jaguars and Texans game. No. There's two quarterbacks. First of all, Jaguars are pretty good. And the Texans and C.J. Stroud deserve a little national spotlight. I want to watch C.J. Stroud have the stage all to himself. Women weaken legs. Mick. You're right about that. They was bums, Rock. Monday Night College. I'm dead serious. If you could put any game from the coming weekend on next Monday Night Football, NFL or college, Ohio State, Michigan should be the next Monday Night Football game. Thank you, David. I'm glad you're supporting this. Thursday nights have been atrocious. Obey Banksy. Haven't seen you in here before, Obey Banksy. Hit that subscribe, hit that like button. Thank you very much. Please and thank you. Look, Thursday Night Football is designed to be atrocious. The only Thursday that should be a Thursday Night Football or a Thursday of football, NFL football, is the Thursday of Thanksgiving. And it's just a constant ratings grab, and Thursday Night Football is atrocious. It's bad for the product. It's bad for the players. It's bad for the audience. But we watch. Again, we suck it up no matter when it is. Daniel Tricky, Damon, crushing it today. Well, thank you very much. Make sure you smash the like button. It makes me shiver when I have to say that. Imagine if the Niners had drafted Justin Fields. Where would things be today? Carlos, here's the deal. I don't know. Maybe Justin Fields on the Niners looks much different than Justin Fields in Chicago. Maybe it's a totally different world that he's living in. I don't know. Smiley Dan, did you conduct a safety meeting? Went to a Warriors game last night, brought home the win, had a couple $19 IPAs. You are welcome, Joe Lacob. Yeah, you can get a case of beer at Safeway or a beer at a Warrior game. Maximum Floosball. You don't go playing that foosball, Bobby Boucher. All right. Seeing Brooks was fun. CP3, solid floor general, played some pesky D too. Smiley Dan ran the safety meeting. Appreciate it. True Blue Forever wants to know, do you keep him safe? Of course he did. Of course he did. My man Ike, who's on a sandwich Mount Rushmore, says Curry is on the Mount Rushmore. Of Warriors players, there's no doubt. All-time NBA players, there might be a little doubt there, but he is remarkable, and he's been ours. And you always want to say what you saw was the best ever. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. And he has just been amazing. An amazing career. Got John Berg in here. John says, hey, Damon, just listen to Larry. Now I'm here listening to you. I hope the Spilkus has subsided. Thank you. Thank you very much, John. Feeling a lot better. Don't have that deep lung like you're smoking cigarettes, cough every single day. So getting better. Getting better. Every now and then I got a little, but, that's just back of the throat, phlegmy phlegm. I don't think that this is way out of line saying Curry's a lot like Jerry Rice. It's just endless physical condition. Steph Curry, how about this? I don't know if Steph Curry's the greatest athlete in the history of the NBA. As a matter of fact, I'm 100% positive that he's not. I haven't seen Steph Curry jump over 5 guys on the way to dunking a ball. Never. But I've also never seen anyone run around a court quite like Steph Curry has. And in terms of conditioning, I don't think it is a stretch to say that Steph Curry has turned himself into one of the finest conditioned players the NBA has ever seen or known. Michelle Haberman. He's such a magician. Boy, we're so lucky to have him, watch him work. I still remember when the local media wasn't sure whether or not they should keep him because of those ankles healthy. Remember that? Here's the thing. That slipped ankle, that goofy trick ankle of his, as much as any other factor, launched the Warriors dynasty. Because if Steph Curry had been Steph Curry right away and had not signed a 4-year, $44 million extension, which in the moment felt a little bit like an overspend, but after those 4 years came and went, you realize that's the single greatest value in the history of professional basketball, having Steph Curry for $11 million a year while he's winning MVPs, winning championships, and revolutionizing how the game is being played. There's no one quite like that guy. Smiley Dan remembers, man, those Ackerman interviews were so good back in the day. Giants and Cards was a yearly battle. I love my boy Tom. I got to get Tommy on here. The reason why I don't have as many guests is because I just want to build this more. Like, I want to give someone an actual platform. So the guests are going to go up once I hit 10,000 subscribers, which we're about 600 short. We're at 9,443 subscribers as of the end of this sentence. So again, please hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. I'm going to fall short. There's no way I'm picking up 500 subscribers between now and Thanksgiving. But maybe Thanksgiving, people will be thankful that I'm on, and that'll be an overwhelming amount of subscribers right there. Maybe I can get there right after the Eagles. Maybe we'll be at 10,000 right after the 49ers play the Eagles, because that's going to be an awful lot of attention, I think, for the channel that week. R.I.P. Cougar Rebel, he noticed, by the way, that Mike Schilt taking that Padres job means all that managerial jobs are taken around Major League Baseball. So you're telling me no one's hiring Gabe Kapler? Yes, I am. I didn't even think about it that way. So you're telling me that more than I'm telling you that, RIP Cougar Rebel, but correct. Look at, now we're getting requests for Ackerman from Postman and Capitola. There we go. Just had to clear the throat. Watching the show on the flat screen at home during Thanksgiving is so much better than watching it at work. Cheers and thank you. Oh, well, thank you. I can't wait to be part of your Thanksgiving. We're going to have a Plusgiving, a thanks plusing. How should we say it? We'll have to figure that one out. But I'm really looking forward to us all being able to hang out. Like I said, we got more than just a chat room. It's a bona fide community, and it's special. Again, you guys mean as much to me as I hope that I mean to you, and the loyalty especially. And there's a group of 150 people that are here no matter what I do. And I pretty much know all of your names at this point. And I'm thankful for you. Speaking of Thanksgiving, I'm thankful for you. No, I'm going to get all mushy. Ugh. Don't make me get mushy. Rayflow23 says the negativity surrounding Purdy with these pathetic made-up narratives is sickening. Give this guy his flowers already. Again, as I pointed out yesterday, Brock Purdy is the destroyer of hot takes. If you're in the hot take business, chances are Brock Purdy's taking a dump on your face. And that's why you don't want to say nice things. You never want to say nice things about the guy taking a dump on your face. But that's what Brock has done. The hot take crowd can't stand Brock Purdy because he shows you how empty and poorly thought through all those hot takes were in the first place. And they're usually being offered up by people who don't really want to think or talk about sports as much as they just want to come up with something that will get them attention. By the way, Daniel Tricky dropped this is my real name. I don't hide. That's what I'm talking about, Daniel. Put your name on it. I like that an awful lot. Leslie says, Damon, Tom Brady came out and said that there's so much subpar football this year, and why isn't he broadcasting? Well, I don't know why he's not broadcasting. I think he wanted to get away from the league for a year. But I'll say this. Part of the reason that comes with subpar football is officials ruining half the football games that we see. There is so much subpar officiating that what might have been a good football game gets rendered subpar by just the zebras alone in a lot of instances. And we're on at least 10 or 12 backup quarterbacks around the league. That's always asking for it. There's a war of attrition. And part of the reason why I think the war of attrition is harder and harder for players to win is because of Thursday night football and the demands on short weeks of turnarounds. And it's just the league is set up to strip players and teams of their success. Irwin says the Rams are paying the price for those trades they made to win their Super Bowl. Yes, but I'll give away 2 years of future football if you guarantee me a Super Bowl this year. The Rams gambled. They pushed all their chips in, and they won. And they don't have anything to apologize for. Obey Banksy. Pumped for December 3rd. Bring on the Eagles. Again, let's get through the Seahawks first. But that's going to be a monster. It is. It's just going to be a monster. T from the 203. Can we put the Giants on C-SPAN 1 or 2? Look, isn't C-SPAN already boring enough? Oh, RIP Cougar Rebel said, no, Damon, I meant flex the Jags in Houston into Monday Night Football. Yes, but I'll still tell you that the Buckeyes and Wolverines would do even better, I think. Carlos Guido says, CJ Stroud is my favorite player not on the Niners this year. He's right up there, man. He is, again, I don't watch a ton of Texans football outside of red zone appearances and, a little highlight here and there. The guy's been amazing, though, with some of the stuff that he uncorks. He can really play. All righty. Carlos is saying, let's be honest, Al Michaels, it's time. Look, Al's at that age where he's going to slow down a little bit, but boy, has he been handed a mountain full of bad football games to call. I'm also just going to be, I love Al's voice. I want as much Al, look at it this way. I want Al Michaels to ride until the wheels come off. Like, I'm also cool with that too. I did see that the Seahawks are going to be wearing those terrible lime green uniforms on Thursday night, and the 49ers are going to be in their all whites. So one team is going to look fantastic. The other team is going to look like a booger. T from the 203. Stadium beers should be $6.50. Look at what Arthur Blank has done for Falcons games. Go ahead. If you want to feel terrible about the stadium you go to and root in every day, go ahead and Google Falcons concession prices. Like, if you spend $40 at a concession stand in Atlanta, you can feed a family of 4. Everyone's got something to eat, something to snack on, and something to drink for like $40. Where $40 is a double tall cocktail at Chase Center. VIP Patel says, Brandon Ayuk is the 49ers first down getter, and they need to sign him next year. York cannot be cheap. No, I agree with you. They need to have Brandon Ayuk back. He needs to make more than $20 million because that's the price point that Debo's at. And Ayuk is more important than Debo in my mind in this passing game. And as a wide receiver, he's better. So yeah, I mean, they have to look at it this way. You know who's going to offer Brandon Ayuk the world? The Kansas City Chiefs. If that guy were to hit free agency. Mike, poor Mike Rotunda says, bad enough I'm in New Jersey and I'm forced to watch the Jets, but I also have to watch them on the national sports stuff as well. It's just horrible. Yeah. To be subjected to them locally and a national game, that's a lot. Lore asked Damon, is Geno Smith going to play Thursday or not? Everything that I've read out of Seattle suggests that he's playing. Now, let's see what the next. I'm not reporting, not telling you, but I again, I was all over Seahawks blogs, preparing for shows and getting ready, and it sounds like he's going to play. All right. Scrolling, looking. What else we got? Anything that comes in under the wire here? Think we're good. Look at Michelle. Always positive. 10K still out there. Definitely by Eagles week. Again, we're talking like 12 days. It's a lot of additions in 12 days. But maybe the calendar, don't call Thanksgiving a holiday. It's not a holiday. It's a calendar custom. Maybe the calendar custom that is, I mean, I know that Thanksgiving is regarded as a national holiday, and it is, but a holiday specifically is when the same day is always that, like Halloween is more of a holiday than it is a calendar custom because Halloween is always on October 31st. December 25th is always Christmas. A calendar custom is when Thanksgiving is always the third Thursday in November. Doesn't matter what the date is. It's always the third Thursday. So that's more of a calendar custom than it is a holiday, but it's a holiday, obviously. Look, it's going to be really aggressive to get there. Maybe we can do it. And maybe people are just going to be watching in such droves that they're going to say, yeah, for Thanksgiving, I'm thankful for you, Damon. Hit subscribe, hit like, hit notify, and all the happiness happens. Stacy, thank you for giving it to us. Oh, well, thank you, Stacy. Again, I really, I have no choice. I have to give it away. This is what we do for a living now. But it's fun. It really is. And I tell you, until I start, and only in the editing, putting up videos phase do I ever feel like I'm working. The reason why I loved being on your radio is because I never worked a day in my life. Never. It was never work to sit down, hit the open mic button, and just start talking. It was never work. I love prepping for a show. I love hosting a show. What I don't like is all the post-production bullshit, which, of course, now I'm responsible for. I actually do like making thumbnails more than I thought I would. It's like my daily sports coloring book is the way I look at it. I also think you can tell how high I am based on the thumbnail. Like how high was Damon last night when he was making thumbnails? I think it comes out in the thumbnail. So, all right, kids, good to see JJ Raider again. Thank you. Oh, don't forget, what do we got? We got Warriors in-season tournament game coming up Tuesday. Oh, it's in-season tournament Tuesday tonight. Yay. I think I would like the in-season tournament more without the courts. I think the courts are getting in the way. Kim did a little Googling. $3 pizza, $5 beers, Atlanta. Here I come. Right? Arthur Blank was like, hey, you know what we should do? We should charge an awful lot for parking. We should charge an awful lot for tickets because that's pretty much standard across sports these days. But we're not going to just hold our fans by their ankles and shake the money out of their wallets at the concession stand as well. And if we don't do that, maybe more kids show up and families are in here. And that means my next generation of fans is all but being grown right in front of my eyes. Like owners that aren't trying to just totally screw over their own fans. What a concept. What a concept. Johnny Dunn says, Damon, what will kill Al Michaels? He's having to be mad at San Francisco for not being in San Francisco. Al Michaels will never, ever, ever stop shitting on Levi's Stadium because Al Michaels knows what I know, what you know. That stadium sucks and it's in the wrong place. He knows it. We all know it. Dr. Jazz Hands. Damon, how do you think rookie Jair Brown will do on a short week? I think he's going to be a good player. Short week, though, rookie, his first start. Maybe it's just better to throw him in there, you know? Maybe it really is. And look, I think Jair Brown is going to be – I think he's going to fill in for Talanoa Hufanga pretty darn well. Will there be mistakes? Sure. When the mistake is happening on the back of your defense, that's when things can go wrong. But I like Jair Brown an awful lot. And this is probably the right way to end it with Julia Virginia. I hope the Niners come up with a big win and without significant injuries so the Eagles game can be a good game. Wishing health to the Eagles, too, so there's going to be no excuses for either team. Julia, I'm going to just golf clap that because I agree. I totally agree. Let this game happen in the vacuum of everyone is locked, loaded, ready to go, and healthy. That's what I want. I want that, too. Health is paramount to any football team's success. So let's do it. 48 hours from the Seahawks. Once we get there, you're 10 days away from 49ers and Eagles, and that should be the sexiest girl at the high school dance. That should be a monster football game. But there's a big football game before there, and it's a division game. So 49ers got a big one coming up on Thursday. I'll have some very good videos for you over the next 2 or 3 days, getting you ready for all that. Larry and I are going to be back at it, 49ers Wake Up, on Friday. By the way, we will be ploosing at 11 o'clock. It'll be a short show, but we will be ploosing on Thanksgiving Thursday for just a little bit. Then, of course, we'll be back here at the 2-minute warning for 49ers and Seahawks. 49ers Wake Up then's going to happen, I believe, on Friday and on Monday. So it's going to be like a Wake Up redo, Wake Up reprise, little tweezer reprise for you. And there you go. Oh, look at this. He reported late, but he still reports for duty. Hi, everyone. Hi, Damon. Sorry I'm late. Just got a haircut. You spiffy-looking, handsome man, you. Otis Bird III. Hopefully it's a really good haircut. Thanks to all of you for being here. It means so much. It means so much to me. It really does. And it breaks my heart to say that, you don't have to go home. You just can't stay here.